Good morning, Grove family. Today's devotional comes to us from Psalm 61. Psalm 61 in the King James Version says, "Hear my cry, O God, attend unto my prayer. From the end of the earth will I cry unto thee. When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. For thou hast been a shelter for me and a strong tower from the enemy. I will abide in the tabernacle forever. I will trust in the covert of thy wings." Selah. And that's just the first four verses. I think that's more than enough for us to chunk at today. David, during this time of writing this psalm, he was exiled from his kingdom. He was banished from the land by being pursued by his son Absalom. And so it was a very difficult time for David. He was going through a lot of pressures was on him, and he found himself in a position where he was just in an uncomfortable place in life. And many of us feel that way today. With all that's going on between COVID and riots, we're just in an uncomfortable place in life. But let's look at what David did in that situation. I think that we learned some things from it. First of all, David cried out to the Lord. He said, "Lord, hear my cry, O God, and attend unto my prayer." Folks, David cried out, and this cry out means that David said it verbally. It was a painful, penetrating cry that he was crying out to the Lord. And he said, "Lord, I don't only want you to hear my prayer," but he went on and he said, "Attend to my prayer." And that word attend means do something about it. I need an answer today, Lord. I need you to come by my side. I need you to not only hear what I'm saying, but I need you to act on my behalf. And so this was not new to David. David knew what it meant to be in agonizing situations. And so he knew what to do. He knew who he was and he knew whose he was. And so he knew to call on the Lord. And then the second thing David did is David said, "Lord, help me." In verse 2, he said, "From the end of the earth will I cry unto thee." This illustrates that David was far away from his comfort zone. Not literally at the end of the earth, but as it was to him, he was way out from those who would normally be around him, far away from the temple that he was used to going to and praising the Lord in. And he said, "I'm calling to you, Lord, from the ends of the earth." That was what his heart felt like. And not only that, David went on and he said, "I need you to hide me." He said, "I cry from the ends of the earth unto thee when my heart is overwhelmed." David had more than he could take. It was so much on his plate that he was at a point of exhaustion. The picture here is that in the NIV it talks about feeling faint. But this faint is also to a point of just about passing out. And that's where David was. He was about to pass out with all that was going on in his life. And so he says, "Hide me, lead me to a rock that is higher than I." David knew in all of his power and all of his authority, he needed to cry out for a help that was greater than him. And that help was found in the rock. And today we know that rock to be Christ Jesus. And David is saying, "Take me up to the high rock." David says, "I need you to lead me. I need you to take me where I can't get on my own." And so David cries out to the Lord for that. And he says, "Lead me to the rock that is higher than I." And then David has a resolve after all these requests. He says, he says, this is why I'm asking first. He says in verse 3, "For thou hast been a shelter for me and a strong tower from the enemy." He said, "Lord, I've always called on you. I've always run to you. You've always covered me. You've always sheltered me. You've always been that hedge of protection around me, that fortress, that strong wall around me. And I just need you to do it again." Folks, in these times when we're all kind of getting a little antsy, we need to call to the Lord and run to him to be our shelter and ask him to do it again, to cover us again. And then here's David's resolve. He says, "I will abide in the tabernacle forever. I will trust in the covert of thy wings." David's at a point now where David's reflecting back to what he used to have when he was at home in his kingdom before he was banished. David's getting a vision of those cherubims that was stretched out over the Ark of the Covenant, the wings stretching one to the other. And with that, he said, Lord, I need you to cover me. I need to just get under your wings. I need to be protected by you. And that's what we have to do. When we get to a point in life where life is dishing out more to us than we can take, we need to run to the cover of the wings of the Almighty. Will we do that today? I encourage you to read the rest of this psalm. It's very powerful. If you would do that today, I think you'll be blessed. God bless you.